Welcome to Conspiracy Q. All right, tonight, we are diving into some seriously top secret stuff, a story people have been kind of whispering about, like, forever. The mainstream media, they just call it fantasy, but we're talking about the Philadelphia experiment.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
You've brought some recently uncovered or classified sources, and they're pretty wild. They really make you think twice about those tinfoil hat theories.
Yeah, right. Like, are they really just theories?
Exactly. So tonight, our mission, our top secret investigation, is to really dissect this whole thing, this alleged 1943 U.S. Navy experiment. Let's try to figure out what really went down, under all those layers of official denial.
Layers and layers. I mean, our listeners are smart. You guys know how to cut through the BS and get to the truth. You're not afraid of those aha moments. And I think we're going to have a bunch of those tonight. Yeah. So let's just jump right in. We're talking about the USS Eldridge, the ship that supposedly just vanished, poof,
Gone.
from Philadelphia. And then, get this, it reappeared hundreds of miles away, just like that.
Like magic.
Seriously. And these sources we've got, they really get into the nitty-gritty of this wild story, the whole mysterious voyage or, I guess, disappearance and reappearance of the USS Eldridge. Where do we even begin?
Well, right off the bat, what jumps out from these sources is the number of firsthand accounts. We're talking crew members who were there, along with this whistleblower, and they all describe something truly unbelievable. They say the Eldridge didn't just disappear; it dematerialized.
Yeah.
Right there at the dock in Philadelphia.
Dematerialized.
Gone. And then it just pops up like over 600 miles away in Norfolk, Virginia. I mean, no wonder the official response has been to just brush it off as a crazy story. Right. It sounds impossible. It challenges everything we think we know about physics, about reality.
For sure. And as these sources confirm, the Navy, they've been denying this whole thing from day one, saying the Eldridge wasn't even in Philadelphia at the time.
Officially, yeah, that's their story.
But here's where things get really interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because these recently uncovered or classified sources, they directly contradict that official line. They've got documentation, they've got testimony that puts the Eldridge right there in Philadelphia Harbor exactly when this crazy vanishing act supposedly went down.
It's a huge discrepancy, and it makes you wonder, what are they hiding? If they're lying about something as simple as the ship's location, what else are they not telling us?
Exactly. I mean, maybe the truth is just too wild or too dangerous for them to admit.
Could be.
Okay, so the official story, the one the Navy is willing to talk about, is that they were just trying to make their ships invisible to radar.
Right, radar invisibility. But when you look at all these sources together, you start to see a much bigger and honestly a much creepier picture.
Oh, yeah. It gets deep.
These documents hint at some seriously mind-bending stuff. Apparently, they were messing around with some incredibly powerful electromagnetic fields, and their goal was nothing less than manipulating space-time itself.
Manipulating space and time. Think about that.
Yeah, it's like something out of science fiction.
And what's really fascinating is the connection to Nikola Tesla. These sources suggest that his research, particularly his work on wireless energy and electromagnetic fields, was a crucial foundation for these experiments, even though they never officially acknowledged it.
Right, so it wasn't just about making a ship invisible to radar. It was about something much bigger. They were trying to harness Tesla's ideas about scalar waves, this kind of energy that most people have never even heard of.
And if these sources are right, it looks like they actually succeeded.
So they might have actually figured out how to bend reality.
That's what it looks like. And if that's true, then the implications are, well, they're almost impossible to grasp.
It's terrifying, honestly.
It is. I mean, if they could do that in 1943, what could they do now?
Exactly. Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the crew, the people who were on board the Eldridge. These sources have some pretty chilling eyewitness accounts from the survivors.
Yeah, these testimonies are really disturbing. They talk about these intense flashes of light, like blinding flashes, and they say their sense of time just completely broke down. And some of them even saw their fellow crew members vanish right in front of their eyes.
Just gone.
Gone. And then there's the account of Carlos Miguel Allende. He claims to have witnessed the whole thing. And what he describes after the experiment is just horrific. Sailors fused to the metal of the ship, others with terrible mental and physical deformities.
It's like something out of a nightmare.
It is. And what's really suspicious is that for years there was no record of this Allende guy. His name was completely erased from official documents.
Almost like they were trying to pretend he never existed.
Exactly. They wanted to silence him, discredit him, which makes his story even more believable in a way. If They went to so much trouble to cover it up, there must be something to it.
Right. And it wasn't just Alan Denver. It seems like a lot of the crew members who could have talked about what happened, they disappeared too.
Some of them turned up dead under very mysterious circumstances, bizarre accidents, things that just didn't add up. Others just vanished, no trace of them.
So what happened to these people?
Well, these sources suggest they were silenced, maybe killed, maybe just made to disappear. It's a classic cover-up. Get rid of the witnesses, and nobody can question the official story.
Okay, so now we come to the part that's maybe the hardest to wrap our heads around. The whole time travel angle.
Yeah, this is where things get really weird.
But it's a recurring theme in these sources. A lot of the crew members reported feeling out of sync with time. They had these strange sensations, memories that seemed to be from the future, and this was all happening in 1943, remember?
There's one account from a sailor who calls himself John Doe that's particularly bizarre. He claims he was suddenly transported to the Eldridge in 1983.
1983.
Yeah, 40 years into the future. And he describes seeing all this futuristic technology, strange symbols, things he couldn't even understand. And then there's another account from a sailor who says he saw himself existing in multiple timelines at the same time.
I mean, that just melts your brain.
It does. But it's interesting because these descriptions, they kind of line up with some of the more out there theories in physics, things like quantum entanglement and temporal bleed.
So are you saying there might actually be some scientific basis for these crazy stories?
I'm not saying it's definitely true, but it's definitely worth considering. The fact that these guys, independently of each other, are describing things that sound like advanced theoretical physics, it's pretty intriguing.
Okay, so this whole rabbit hole goes even deeper, because these sources also talk about the mysterious deaths and disappearances of people who were investigating the Philadelphia experiment.
Yeah, it's not just the crew members who were silenced. It seems like anyone who got too close to the truth ended up in trouble.
There's the case of Morris K. Jessup, the UFO researcher who got those letters from Allende. He was found dead in his car, and officially it was ruled a suicide.
But the circumstances were really suspicious. Like, the engine was running, the exhaust pipe was connected to the inside of the car. It just didn't make sense.
And he was right in the middle of his investigation into the Philadelphia experiment when he died.
Exactly. And then there's Dr. John von Neumann, the brilliant mathematician who was supposedly involved in the whole thing. He just disappeared from public life after a certain point.
Like he was erased.
Pretty much. And these are just two examples. The sources mention others, too many to be just coincidence. It seems like there was a systematic effort to silence anyone who knew too much.
So we've got all these disappearances, these suspicious deaths, and then you add in the fact that all the official records of the experiment were supposedly destroyed or classified.
Yeah, the cover-up was thorough. They really wanted to make sure nobody could ever find out the truth.
Even the FBI investigation in the late 1940s, which you'd think would be trying to get to the bottom of things, they just dismissed it as a hoax. No details, no explanation.
Total stonewalling.
Yeah.
Why go to so much trouble to hide something that supposedly never happened? It just doesn't add up.
Unless they were trying to protect something really big.
Exactly. And these sources point to one main motive for the cover-up: control of the technology. They didn't want anyone else to get their hands on this power to manipulate space and time.
It's kind of a terrifying thought. I mean, imagine the power someone would have if they could actually control those forces.
It's almost too much to contemplate.
And it gets even weirder because these sources also draw some parallels between the Philadelphia experiment and other secret projects, like MKultra, the one about mind control and human experimentation.
Yeah, it's a disturbing connection.
So are you saying there might be a link between these projects? Like maybe they were both part of some bigger, even more secret agenda?
It's possible. The sources suggest a common thread, a kind of philosophy shared by the people who were running these projects. They believed that they could transcend the laws of nature, push the boundaries of what was possible no matter the cost.
And that cost included human lives.
It seems so. They were willing to experiment on people, to risk their lives, all in the name of scientific progress or, maybe something even darker.
Okay, so let's talk about the consequences of all this. Your sources suggest that the Philadelphia experiment might have had some really profound and really unsettling effects that are still being felt today.
Yeah, this is where things get really speculative, but given what we've already learned, it's hard to completely dismiss these ideas.
I mean, we're talking about the possibility of gateways to other dimensions, altered timelines, things that sound like they're straight out of science fiction.
But what if they're not? What if the Philadelphia experiment actually did rip a hole in the fabric of reality?
And what if those rips are still there?
Could be.
And there's this even more disturbing idea that your sources bring up. The possibility that the Philadelphia experiment is still ongoing in some secret underground facility somewhere.
That they're still messing around with space and time, and maybe even human consciousness.
So all those unexplained events, those mysteries that we can't figure out, maybe they're all connected to this one event.
It's a chilling thought.
It is. So after digging into all these sources, it's pretty clear why the Philadelphia experiment still fascinates people and why it still freaks people out. The official story just doesn't hold up. There are too many inconsistencies, too many eyewitness accounts, too much evidence of a cover-up.
It's a story that refuses to die. And I think it raises some really important questions. Questions about the limits of science, the ethics of government secrecy, and even the nature of reality itself.
Questions that we need answers to. And if even a small part of what these sources say is true, then what else is out there? What other tinfoil hat theories might actually be hiding some terrifying truth?
I guess we'll have to keep digging.
That's what we do here on Conspiracy Q. We uncover the truth, no matter how shocking it is. So if you're ready to go deeper, make sure you rate and follow us. We've got a lot more to uncover.